All right, folks, so here's what we're going to do for this week before our winter break. And so I thought I would try a project. We've got 2 classes before break. So the first thing we're going to do is it's going to be an art project. So you can see by the screen here that you're going to be doing a trigonometric graph project. Now everything you need to know is on Canvas, and it's titled the Chapter 4 Culminating Project. So let me just go over this with you. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to use our sine, cosine, and tangent functions, and you're going to use Desmos to create a picture that contains at least 4 different trigonometric functions, but no more than 6. You must use sine once, cosine once, tangent once. To earn full credit, you must have a unique transformation for each equation. Don't repeat the amplitude, phase shift, vertical shift, and period, and avoid using 1 for A and B. So, and then it says your window setting should be from -2 pi to 2 pi for the x-axis in Desmos, and let your step be pi over 2. If you are struggling with this, ask me. Your y values can vary as needed. So what I'm going to show you is how to do that. So we're going to go to Desmos, and what we're going to do is I'm going to sign in because I have an account. If you don't have an account, you don't have to have an account. But see, this here is my wrench. So this wrench, I'm going to change my x-axis. I want it to go from -2, and I'm typing pi for pi, tab, and then I want it to go to +2 pi. I'm going to count by pi divided by 2. That's what I want this step to be. Now your y-axis, you can make it whatever you want. I'm just going to set mine up to go from -10 to 10. And I'm going to label my axis x and y. And I'm going to keep it in radians. So now I have my window. So I'm just going to click on the wrench. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm just going to type in some sine curves. A sine curve of 1 divided by pi, parentheses x minus 2 plus 3. And then maybe I'll come down here and do a cosine, -2 cosine of 1 divided by 2 x minus x plus pi over 2 and minus 2. And then I'll maybe put a tangent function in because I have to do one of each. So y equals 3 tan of 2x, and then plus 1. So I got that thing going on there. And then maybe I'll do y equals -3 tan of 1/2 x minus 2, and then minus 1. Okay, so this is what my window looks like. I really don't like those green ones, so I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to change that so that maybe instead of 2, I'm going to make it maybe 1 divided by pi. Oh, that looks a little bit better. And then maybe I want to move my cosine, so instead of it being pi over 2, maybe I want to make it pi over 3. And maybe I want this to be 1 divided by 2 pi. Make it a little bit bigger of a graph. Maybe I don't like that, so maybe I want to make it 2 over pi. Oh, that looks a little bit better. So I'm just playing with this until I get a picture that I like. So that's my picture. Now if I wanted to, I could put another graph on here. I can have up to 6 graphs. So maybe I do 2 sine of 3x minus pi over 3, and then plus maybe I need to make that a bigger number. Maybe I make that a 6. Ooh, maybe I make that an 8. Ooh, that looks prettier. Okay, so now I got some stuff going on here, and this is my graph, and I'm happy with it. So what I'm going to do is that's my graph. This is what I'm going to be coloring. So I'm going to set this right here where it says share graph, and I can do multiple things. One thing I can do is print this. So you can print it, which is what you're going to need to do. And when you print, you want to choose you can choose a color printer, or you can choose just a regular printer. EDHS A308C is a color printer, and that's across the street in Mr. Bellamy's room. And instead of printing all pages, you just want to print the first page only. So we only want to print page 1, okay? And that's going to print, and that gives me a hard copy of that. So that's one of the things you want to do here, okay? And then the second thing you want to do is you want to copy this link. And when you come back here, you're going to see that it says here, you're going to graph these equations on your computer screen until you're satisfied with the look of your picture. It's super easy to alter, which I showed you. Once you're satisfied, print out it in color, and then you can share the link to the graph in your assignment. So we're going to click here to share the link to the graph, and then what you're going to do is you're going to start the assignment, and you're just going to paste that URL there. Submit. Okay, so that's done. Then we're going to go back to where we were. Okay. So that's done for that assignment. And then it says, we were continuing to read, you've got this worksheet here. Okay, so the worksheet is actually another one, and it looks like this. I have a paper copy if you'd like to write it all out on paper first, because sometimes that's easier. So you've got this paper copy where it tells you to write your equation, what color is it on the graph, what's the period for that function, what's the amplitude, what's the phase shift, and what's the vertical shift. So if I were doing this for my graph, I would go back to Desmos, and I would bring this window up so I could see my equations. So my first equation that's red is y equals 4 sine 1 over pi. X minus 3, and then plus 3. So what I'm doing is on this paper, I want to answer these questions about that particular event. So I'm looking at this. The color that it is on my screen is red. The period is, let's see, my A value, it's 1 over pi, so that means pi is A, right? So I'm going to have 2 pi times pi equals the period. So my period is going to be 2 pi squared. Okay? The amplitude is the number in front, so that's 4. The phase shift is what's happening here. So it says minus 3, so that means I went right 3. And then my vertical shift, it says plus 3, so that means I went up 3. So you're going to fill that out there. You can also fill that out on Canvas. So if I go back to Canvas, right here it says fill out the worksheet. Oh, and it won't let me do it because I'm the one that shared it. Okay, so you'll go to that, you'll click that link, and it'll open, and you can type on it. And then the last thing you're going to do is once you have printed this part out, okay, you've printed this out, you've got your graph. You're going to take a piece of plain white paper, and you're going to trace your graphs, okay? You're going to trace your graphs. You're either making an abstract drawing or a recognizable picture drawing. It doesn't matter to me what you do. And what you're going to do at that point is once you've traced those graphs, so here's an example of someone, they printed out this graph and they traced the graphs and then they colored it in. So you can see it looks like they have a person swinging on a swing. I don't know how to rotate this. So they took and they drew, so there was like a river or something going through it. They made all of this abstract tie-dye stuff, and then they have a picture of a kid playing on a swing. So that's one strategy you could use. Another strategy is there's the original picture that they had. So there's their 1, 2, 3, 4 trig curves. And then this is what they drew in the picture after they had traced it. So you can see they had these, which we didn't do secant, cosecant, and cotangent yet, so that's okay. Okay, but you can see how they used that as their idea. And then here's another one that's more abstract, so you can see all of the different graphs that they have. And they traced the graphs in black marker and then shaded for something abstract. And then another abstract, here's another abstract where they had their functions, and then they just made an abstract drawing. So that's my goal, is to get some art from you guys, okay? You can use markers, you can use crayons, you can use colored pencils, whatever you choose to use. And then once you've got that picture done, what you're gonna do is upload it right here. Okay, so everything is linked to this particular page. All right, and basically you get 5 points for turning it all in on Canvas, but I'm really gonna be grading the paper part. Okay, the only reason I put this on Canvas is for people who are not here. All right? And that way you'll know if you submitted it or not by when you turned it in on Canvas. I hope that makes sense. Thanks for playing along.